Saturday, Soup and Meatballs time. What's going on? That's Tim. I'm Max. Or that's Soup, and this is Meatballs.
Very aggressive right off the bat.
Why not? So I'm going to start with this because every day when we do the whole show thing, I push it out to the world on the Book of Face. And today I included a picture. So like the new trend on the Facebook is people doing these action figures. And I have a former grad school professor who's really done an awesome job with his. Like, they just look phenomenal. Actually, if you go to the Hazleton News page, like they've done like Hazleton celebrities. Somehow I didn't make the list. I'm out of the city long enough, I guess.
I saw that last night. I saw there was a Sam Lassant one.
Did you see those? So they did What's Your Name?
So, that's fantastic.
Ton of stuff.
Please tell me they have a click.
No, and it was recommended or demanded that they make a click. And come on,
that was the first one I thought of was click.
They made a Jimmy from Jimmy's Quick Lunch. Jimmy
obviously
made, and it looks good too. Which is, I would buy a Jimmy action figure.
Did he have like mustard smears on his smock?
No, it's clean, so it's not like it's not authentic Jimmy, but it's close.
He didn't smell like chili and onions.
So ours that I put up there was like. I know there's pictures of us scattered around my hard drive, but the one I knew I could find really quickly was from my wedding. So our action figures, we both look like news anchors, except mine has a Yankee logo on it. Yours doesn't. I think I look like Jim from The Office with a beard, and you look like Seth Rogen with red hair.
I thought I looked like Conan O'Brien when he grew out his beard when he lost the Tonight Show.
With the curly hair, it's just, it's ridiculous. And then like the other accessories, which is kind of strange. The Celtics hat, the Yankees. I don't know what it looks like, a baseball. I don't know what it is. It's absolutely ridiculous. But then I did others as well. Did I send you those? The individual ones?
Yeah.
Mine is from a picture that I took for Video Game Clubs of America where I'm holding a deck of cards, and that's why it looks like it's all like card related. And then yours, I forget what picture I used of you because I did those on the computer then, and I could find a better picture. I don't know. I don't know the prompt as well. Then you sent me much better ones of you, I think.
The second one. Picture. I made a second one on ChatGPT that I sent you where I look a lot like Brian Scalabrine.
Yeah, you do. Oh, well, what was the second one? What did I say you look like? I don't care. I'm looking at it now. Let's see here. The Scalabrine one. That's like your action figure, but like you look like you're in like a Marvel comic thing.
That's exactly what I asked. I said, can you make an action figure of me as an Avengers-style superhero?
You don't look good in a black unitard or whatever that is.
Yeah, spandex is not my friend.
It's like a Batman suit. And what are you holding? The ray gun is one thing. That's easy. But what's in your left hand? It looks like a plasma. There it is. The plasma ball.
Yeah, it's like an Iron Man kind of thing, maybe.
ChatGPT does weird stuff. Let's get that straight.
I'm just glad I have the right amount of fingers, and it didn't give me like a third eyeball or something.
Oh, there you go. There's this. We'll share this with the world because why not?
And I sent that to my one friend, and she was like, "That is unsettling."
It doesn't look bad. And you know what? There's me. There's the meatballs. Look at the guns on that guy. Look at the pipes.
Oh, you are just absolutely yoked.
I am, and here, I only had you in the tux.
Yeah,
so
but
there it is.
I'm dapper.
You got all the stuff though. You got the Celtics hat. You got the, you know what this is? That's a bowl of soup.
Sure.
Because why not? And for mine, obviously, you're gonna get a Max with a bowl of meatballs.
I still think that looks like Joe Rogan.
We're much better looking than those guys.
Now let's get into our ultra right-wing political views, as we do every week.
Yes, absolutely. So this week, the NCAA tournament kind of wrapped up their what have you. I was out of town. I sent you a picture of the show I went to see. We went to see a show out in the Downingtown area, and they did a show in water. but it wasn't in water. Like I thought it was going to be more water involved. It wasn't, whatever. But I was there during the Florida-Auburn game. I was able to check some of the scores. It was really close during game, 6-point final. But all throughout the second half, and I was able to check scores, it was close. You got to watch the game, though. Give us the 30-second clip of Florida-Auburn SEC game.
I thought it was supremely entertaining, and yet it ended up being maybe only the second best game of the night. It was weird. I didn't like how it was officiated because they really swallowed the whistles in the first half, and then Florida had like 5 fouls within the first 2 minutes of the second half, which is just frustrating to watch.
Be consistent throughout. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, but I mean, this is kind of what Florida did throughout the whole tournament. They were just tough to kill, And then that Clayton Jr. I saw someone make the comparison that he had like a Kemba Walker like run, which is a great comparison.
He did. And going into the finals, I mean, you had said something about how impressive. We were talking about Cooper Flagg and some of my criticisms of him, and you said something about Clayton. I looked him up, and number-wise, yeah, what a run he had. Other game, like you said, maybe the better game, Duke Houston. I saw the first half we went to a bar after the show, and I got these nachos that were really good. But we were sitting at a point where I had to like tilt my head to kind of watch the game. So we watched the first half, and then I saw the second half on my cell phone because we didn't turn the TV on. The kids were watching something else. So I'm watching it on this small screen. So my views are what they are. I don't know. I saw 2 Duke games this year that I really, really paid attention to. And I was not overly impressed with the way Cooper Flagg played in either one of them. Like, not to the point where, like, he's going to be the top pick most likely, but he just felt like he was missing something for me. At the end of the first half of the Houston game, he had the ball at the top of the key with 6 seconds, and he didn't try to make a play. He passed the ball, and he wasn't guarded. It wasn't like LeBron trying to find the open guy. He just got rid of the ball. And that's something that didn't settle right with me.
The thing that I was struck by was that when we all were introduced to the name Cooper Flagg was during the lead up to the Paris Olympics, where we saw exhibition games between the men's team and like college, like college, basically like a U20 team. And there were all the videos.
He hung with him. He held his own.
Yeah, he hung with him, but also he was aggressive. He was hitting threes in people's faces. He was swooping in off the wing for jams. He looked like a killer, and we did not see that in the tournament. And I think part of it might have. I wonder if part of it might have been that playing in a soft ACC, he didn't have to access that part of himself. That he might have almost become a little like that killer instinct might have gone like latent. Like you know what I mean?
How many second halves did he play tight games?
Yeah, and it just looked like he was lacking that desire to just put his foot on someone's neck.
The final line though, 27 points looks good. So I had a hard time like wrapping my head around the fact that like me, because who cares about me? I wasn't impressed. And some of my buddies online were like, well, you just didn't know what you were watching. And somehow I talk like that to people about football sometimes or baseball. And maybe the 2 games I watched, I don't know what I'm looking for. But it just didn't feel like you said, he was aggressive.
Yeah, and you're right. He's going to be the number 1 pick, almost certainly, unless he decides to maybe go back. And I'm sure he'll be a fine pro, and maybe he'll be a great pro.
So but yeah, where's the ceiling for him?
It's hard to say because he.
Look at the last like big time can't miss prospects. It was Zion Williamson and Wembanyama, and Zion is what Zion is, and Wembanyama's hurt.
Sorry, I got a random call there.
Oh. Who's calling you? Let's talk to them.
You still there?
I'm here. Yeah, you got me. We might have lost him. He might have to come. He's going to come in and back. But I want to know who's calling you during the show. Like, what's that about? The last three can't miss prospects, like I was talking about. Wembanyama, hurt. Zion didn't really fulfill much, and now the next one is Cooper Flag, and Tim is back.
Sorry, I got a call there. It kicked me off.
Who's calling you?
My friend was just a random. I have other friends.
Send them the link. You can talk here.
But you would ask me about what's the ceiling. You know who Cooper Flag reminds me a lot of a fellow Dookie. He reminds me a lot of Jason Tatum.
Okay.
And people
kind of
have those
doubts for him.
Absolutely. So I think that is the ceiling. I think the more likely path, I could see him having like a JJ Redick-esque career where he's a really good player, stays in the league because
he can shoot.
Right. And I think Flag's, a good enough playmaker, certainly, and a good enough offensive player that even if he never becomes like a Hall of Fame caliber, championship caliber player, he can be a 15-year veteran, borderline all-star type,
Borderline all-star. And so that's where you're getting me, like borderline all-star, and he's going to be the number one pick.
Like Leitner. Like Leitner had a good career. He was an all-star for the Hawks.
Yeah.
I could see something like that, but I do think, if he really maximizes his potential, I could see him being, another version of Tatum.
Well, the way the Duke-Houston game ended was nothing short of mind-blowing. A 9-point lead with how many minutes left. The Houston defense on the inbounds plays, you couldn't get the ball in, and then the 3-point shots get them back. They were down 6, I think, with a minute left, and Duke couldn't hit a shot. Duke couldn't hit a foul shot. Proctor had a really bad last couple minutes, and we get Houston versus Florida. And I watched a good portion of that. I'm sure you watched the whole thing. Mm-hmm. I'm really impressed with Kelvin Sampson's team's defense, really. And
the whole thing was they just wanted to attack the snake by cutting off the head. They threw everything at Clayton Jr. and he had no room to operate in the first half. I think he might have finished with 11 or 13. But that was the strategy, make other guys beat you, and they were great at executing it.
Florida, to their credit, was able to break it late.
What's that?
Florida, to their credit, was able to break through that defense late, and come. They played really good defense themselves. This was like watching a really good heavyweight fight where both fighters, knew what they were doing defensively.
And truly, Houston did play the better. I think Florida only led for less than 2 minutes of game time, like 1 minute and 30 some odd seconds.
At some point, it was like 17 seconds, and because it was 8-6. Yeah. I saw that stat near the end. I'm like, wow.
And I mean, if you would have told anyone that Clayton was going to have, I don't think he had a point in the first half. If the score was going to be neither team was going to get to 70. You'd have been like, oh, Houston wins by 5 to 10 points. Houston did everything right but win the game.
The last 2 possessions for Houston, when I thought they had a chance, and I was rooting for Florida just because you had picked Florida in the pool that we were in. The last 2 possessions that Houston had were poor, to say the least. They were lost offensively. They didn't even get a shot off in their last possession. The weird jump dribble thing that they didn't want to touch the ball again because it would have been a travel or a double dribble or whatever.
It would have been up and down. Yeah,
that was a tough way to watch a team not get a final shot. That's a tough way to lose a game, I think.
That poor kid just trying to box out his defender in the hope that any of his teammates can get to the ball before Florida just kind of pokes it up court.
Yeah, and there was only like 4 or 5 seconds left. You weren't going to get a good shot.
Right.
but you might have got something.
I don't know what was more heartbreaking, watching that kid desperately trying to keep Florida away from the ball and just having to watch helplessly as the ball just bounces in front of him.
I felt that way once in my life, and it was during practice. We were doing a live drill, and like we were doing live offense versus defense, and I was on defense, and I don't know who the kid was, but they fumbled the ball, but I had gotten blocked from behind, so I was on the ground. The ball was like 6 feet away from me, but nobody else was around it, and I was like trying to crawl to get it, but I couldn't because I think somebody like Chisnell was laying on my back. I was like, I just want the ball. That's how that kid had to feel. I mean, like Matt Chisnell was sitting on his back.
That's going to be the new simile for any time that you're just hopelessly watching your dreams die.
Come on, Chisnell, get off my back.
Yeah, I thought I had it made, and then I had Chisnell on my back.
That's what it is, man. Yeah. And speaking of Chisnell on your back, so first of all, congratulations to Florida and whatnot. But a large gorilla or monkey on the back of Paige Beckers has been lifted. Paige wins her first NCAA championship as she leads the UConn Huskies to an 82-59 win over South Carolina. Beckers scored 17, which, I mean, she was stuck on 17 for a large portion of the second half. And I only say this because it's significant. In her career, she finishes with 477 tournament points, 2 points behind the great Shamiqua Holtzclaw, who had 479 for those great Pat Summit Tennessee teams of the 90s. Did you get a chance to watch any of this game? I know we were texting a little bit back and forth during it. I don't know if you saw it.
I did. And the second half was just, little more than a coronation. I mean,
it was like watching a UConn game back in the day when they were winning Final Four games by 30. But 82-59, they basically won this game by 20. So it's a final. It's a final. And Dawn Staley's team was back-to-back champs. They're a good team.
And, I mean, UConn dropped a 30-point win in the semifinal. I don't think anyone saw this UConn team.
I think we were robbed. We were robbed a little bit of Beckers versus JoJo from USC. Juju Watkins. Yeah, she got hurt, and that was supposed to be a big game as well. But yeah, I mean, you get a 30-point win in the Final Four, 20-something point win, 26-point win here. I love what Gino's done with this program. I've made a list of college basketball teams that I will follow. Like I'm a fan of some teams. I don't hate many college basketball teams. The UConn women's team, I've liked them since a long time back, since Rebecca Lobo, on the SI cover. What Gino's done with that program is just amazing. The one thing I'll say, I was flipping back and forth between the ABC broadcast. ESPN did a broadcast with, get this, Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi.
Oh, yeah.
They run a show up there. I get that, but they had to bring on Caitlin Clark to balance out the Husky bias. Like, I felt bad for South Carolina to a point because not only were they getting throttled on the court, they were getting blasted in the booth by these two former Husky greats. Like, come on.
What do you think is more impressive? What Wooden did at UCLA when like men's college basketball was kind of entering like the sort of like national sports consciousness, or what Gina's done at UConn where women's basketball was doing the same from the 90s and into the 2000s?
That's a great question. I think it's an apples to oranges or a soup to meatball comparison because Gino now has the ability to recruit globally easier. I don't remember or know what recruiting was like back in the 60s or 70s. Like Kareem was a New York legend, right?
Yeah, and he was a New York kid,
and he was recruited. There's probably a 30 for 30 on his recruitment to UCLA, and how he got it, because largely back then recruiting had to be regional, right? I mean,
it was definitely much more regional. It wasn't like it is now.
You weren't going to get like the Rivals.com write-up on the next big player. So
scouting is much more crude as well.
I would say Wooden just because of that, but the comparison is really apt based
But
on what college basketball was like then, and the recent uptick in what we've seen in women's basketball now. In the '90s, I mean, Gino was building dream teams. He'd have 2, 3 All-Americans on his team, which in college basketball, you have 2 All-Americans. That's a lot. If you have one, you're in good shape.
the difference for me, though, is when UCLA was doing it, basketball in the West was uncharted territory. Basketball was an East Coast thing. And so the talent that was in the West was ripe for the plucking for John Wooden. Whereas Gino coming up had to deal with the Goliath of Tennessee and Pat Summitt. Because all Tennessee was where it was at. They had all the studs.
He came in and took them. Yeah. But once he got that ball rolling, yeah, they both incredible stories. And Gino is 77, 70. He's up there.
He's in his 70s. He's like mid-70s.
I know the girls on ESPN said, is this it? I don't know. It didn't even mention the next All-American freshman that's coming in now. I mean, he's told, I'll be here for 4 years for you. Eventually, he's going to lie to somebody. He's going to say, I'll be here for 4 years, and he won't be. But
he seems like the type to die with a clipboard in his hand.
You hate to say it that way, but he likes what he's doing, and he's really good at it. So there we go. UConn 12th national championship, first since
16, I think.
I was going to say 2019, but yeah, we'll say 2016. I know it's been a while, so good for them. That tournament ending, the NBA tournament's going to start next Tuesday, I think. Big day out west, right? I don't know if you saw the schedule. The West has 4 really interesting games just today. The Clippers are at Golden State, and the Clippers have a 1-game lead on Golden State for the 5 seed. I think if Golden State wins, they're the 5 seed. Then you have Denver is at Houston. So I don't know who has the tiebreaker between Denver, the Clippers, and the Warriors. So if Golden State wins, or whatever's going on with Denver, that's the 4 seed. You've got Dallas and Memphis. Dallas and Memphis.
Is in.
They're both playoff play-in teams, so you might see a rematch in the playoffs. But then Utah is at Minnesota. Utah is playing the Cooper Flag sweepstakes. The Timberwolves can actually get out of the play-in game if they get into the top 6. I don't know I think Golden State has to lose and Minnesota has to win, and then Golden State would be playing Memphis in the play-in. So wow, out west it's a wild day today, isn't it?
The play-in in the West is going to be more entertaining than any series in the East other than the final. The West is so loaded, and so many great stories in the West. So it's OKC, and then it's the Clippers have kind of flown under the radar, but now Kawhi's getting healthy. Golden State is dangerous now ever since they got Jimmy Butler at the trade deadline. Denver's falling apart, and you got Nikola Jokic drawing up plays in the huddle.
Well, so the last show we had, we talked about the coach at Memphis getting fired, and it feels like 3 days later, Denver's firing their coach. And if you looked, Denver they're treading water. It almost feels like it was like the Yankees in 2000. Like the Yankees lost 11 of their last 14 games to stumble into the playoffs. Denver is not on a run that bad, but they've really been playing subpar, and then they fire their coach. They win a couple of games. You fire a coach this close to the playoffs. What do you think about that?
Well, so Denver's kind of been flailing ever since that just absolute gut punch of a loss to Minnesota, where Jokic goes 61, 10, and 10. And then Westbrook has a couple, bad moments in double overtime, and they lose just an absolute, just punch in the gut. The only thing, and I'm not the first to say this, but Mike Malone had to have just clearly lost the locker room. He had talked, because this is a guy who has brought you a championship just 2 years ago.
The coach of Memphis doesn't have that. Yeah, this was like, wow, championship coach going.
Yeah. But, he had talked about a few times about not liking the defensive effort. He talked about, lack of preparation. And, all of that sounds like the guys were tuning him out. That they got their title and they were like, what new can you tell me? And
Jokic doesn't seem like the kind of player who's going to be super like in your face, locker room, let's get going. I think he just wants to go home and take a nap.
Yeah, he just wants to get back to his horses. Other than the Lakers, I think the Warriors and the Nuggets are the two most intriguing teams in the West. Because the Nuggets have, I believe Jokic is the best player in the NBA. And the regular season
his numbers now are better than his MVP years. If SGA doesn't have a 15-game lead, you're probably talking about Jokic as another MVP run.
Yeah, it's weird to say that a guy who already has 3 MVPs in 4 years is being overlooked for averaging a triple-double, a 30-point triple-double for the season. I just think Denver's kind of in a tailspin at this point.
But they're in, and they could be anywhere from 3 to 6, maybe. I think, like you said, the play-in for the West, probably anything more entertaining than anything out east. In the East, right now, the play-in is basically set. You're going to have Orlando at Atlanta, and Chicago's playing Miami. Tim, your Celtics are locked in as the 2, which means if I'm reading this correctly, so 9 and 10 will play each other. The winner gets the loser of the 7-8 game.
Yes.
And then the winner of the 7-8 game becomes the 7 seed. Is that right?
Yes. And then whoever wins between the loser of the 7-8 and the winner of the 9-10, whoever wins that one becomes the 8 seed.
So now you're looking at the winner of Orlando and Atlanta. As a Celtic fan, does it matter to you one way or the other? Who would you rather see?
Probably Atlanta, just because Orlando, I think they've underperformed this year, but they're just, I think, a little more dangerous than Atlanta. Banchero's, a guy who can carry him to a win or two. Can he beat the Celtics 4 times by himself? No. But can he put, can he have me sending messages to my cardiologist when I'm watching a game 5 when they're tied at 2 games apiece? Probably.
You just said Orlando can win 2 games. I think you need to see your CAT scanist now. That series is not going to see a game 5. Let's get that straight.
I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying that he's that type of talent, like an all-star level talent who can put a scare in a better, much higher seed.
I got you. So if you're looking at coming into the playoffs hot, Orlando is 8-2 in their last 10. Atlanta is 4-6 in their last 10. So there's that. Maybe Orlando could steal a win. The Chicago Miami series, to me, they're both kind of hot coming in. That could be a fun one. But at the end of the day, you're fighting for the right to play Boston or Cleveland, and they're in a collision course. Like we said last time, can we just have them play 27 games and see what happens?
Yeah, even when you get to the better teams in the East, they just don't compare to Cleveland or Boston. The Knicks put up a fight against Boston this week.
I just saw that they're 0-7 against them now. How are they going to win 4 times? They can't win once in a regular season game. Yeah, their win against Boston was losing by 2.
Exactly. It just feels like for the conference finals, you can just write in ink 3 of the 4 teams who are going to be playing, because it just feels like it's OKC, Boston, and Cleveland, and TBD as the second team in the West?
I'm going to root for TBD because
you like ambiguity.
I like something. I was watching, I don't know what show it was, on ESPN2. They have Mad Dog Russo doing a top 5 things that he wants fixed in the world, and one of them was he wanted the NBA to go back to a 5-game series for the first round, because he's like, the NBA playoffs last months, and he's not wrong. It's April 12th right now as we're recording, and the play-in is starting on April 16th or 15th, whatever day it is, and we're not going to have a finals champion until the middle of June. Yeah. That's a long playoff to have. I don't necessarily think taking 2 games off of the first bracket does anything, but if you're a fan of playoff basketball, this is a good time of year. We just finished up March Madness. NBA's coming up.
The only benefit to going back to 5 best of 5 first round is that it increases the chances for upsets.
My first thought was what we got with the Supersonics
and Denver. That's my first thought.
2?
That was 94, I believe.
Well, it's one of those years. I remember the Dikembe Mutombo holding the ball in the lane.
The Sonics were the 1 seed, and then them getting bounced.
The
Rockets were able to come out
record, the Sonics blew people around. That was a massive upset.
They had 64 wins or something like that. They were rolling through the West that year.
So we'll keep our eyes open for playoffs, and predictions are kind of early now. You said 3 of the 4. I'm rooting for TBD. Stay tuned as that rolls along. We're going to switch things up. We're going to beginning of a season now, and you saw the nice contract that Toronto threw out. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is not going to be a free agent anytime soon. He signed an extension that will take him through 2039. I want you to think about that, Tim. 2039. My daughter is in first grade. She is part of the class of 2036. She's going to be in college or 3 years post-high school, whatever she's doing, when this contract is up. Tim, good move, bad move, the right move? What kind of move?
The only thing that's bad about this move is that it took this long to get it done because they knew they were going to pay him. You don't have a talent like that and then let him walk if you have the ability to pay him. So what were they haggling over? $2 million?
I don't know. I mean, I will tell you when I was looking this up, the real shocker to me, this has a $325 million signing bonus. So the deal is essentially for $175 million. The $500 million total, $325 is a signing bonus. But because of the way the collective bargaining agreement works in baseball, his average annual for luxury tax is I wrote it down, $35.71 million. This is the 3rd most lucrative contract in history. It's the highest average annual for a first baseman, the highest average annual for a player with less than 6 years of service time. The number feels high to me. I'm with you. I don't know what took him so long, but when I first saw it, my first thought was, holy cow, that's a lot of years. But then, holy cow, that's a lot of zeros too. Great player. I don't know that he can perform to this contract, though.
Well, and from his end, I wonder, because you hear players talk about the tax benefits of playing in Canada. I wonder if that made him pressure his representation a little bit to be like, I don't want to walk. But that's the gamble with any contract like this. When Bryce Harper signed, what was it, back in 2019 or whatever,
$30 million, and we were like, wow, what's that about?
Yeah, I mean that. I remember when Alex Rodriguez signed the monster deal with Texas in 2000, and everyone was like, "How's he ever going to live up to being worth $250 million?" It's a calculated risk.
It's arguable that he didn't, and he won. Right. He hit 54 home runs and won an MVP. The thing with this that I guess if you're looking for money to not hit free agency and at least dangle your wares in front of the Yankees or Dodgers, who are, the Yankees would be in position to sign a first baseman. I mean, Paul Goldschmidt, I think, signed for 2. So, I mean, I would take a meeting with him if I were Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman.
And I'm sure that motivated Toronto. Do you want to potentially lose a young talent like this to the team with the deepest pockets in sports in your own division?
I could see that, but I mean, if you're Guerrero, you just tell your agent, look, we're using, a lot of teams used to use the Yankees back then for leverage like that. Like, I don't want to go. Don't tell them that. And maybe we push it to 550. But I mean, when you're talking about 500 million, what can you do with 550 that you can't do with 5? I guess.
Yeah. How much better can you eat? It's like Jack Nicholson says in Chinatown. Like, what's another couple million? What will you be able to buy that you can't buy already?
At that point, yeah. I mean, he's happy, and currently Toronto setting the pace in the AL East. Really, the story for me, though, in Major League Baseball, at the NL West right now, who have their top 3 teams have a winning percentage of 763 collectively. The third place, Los Angeles Dodgers, that's right, third place. They would be in first place in any other division by 2 games at least. Now, that's not going to hold up all year. I don't think. I mean, you can't keep that kind of pace internally. But holy cow, that division is tough.
Yeah, a team that starts 7-0 and they're looking up at 2 other teams in the standings.
Well,
it's bonkers.
They started 8-0.
That's right. I couldn't remember when they lost to Philly.
The Padres were 7-0 and half a game out of first place.
Yeah. You know what it's going to be
and
like?
The Giants kind of came out of nowhere. Like, not out of nowhere, but like it was Padres Dodgers for a while, and then the Giants got hot.
Could you imagine if this was like before they went to the 3 division and the wild card? So in '93, when the Braves were still in the NL West, and the Giants had Bonds, it was his first year in San Francisco, and they won like 103 games, but the Braves won 104, and so the Giants just had to sit at home.
And that's, I don't know if 6 playoff teams is the right answer, but those were tough days, and there were a lot of teams that missed out on playoffs because of the layout of the
just 2 divisions per league, only 1 champion per division.
I remember
a lot of great teams that went home and watched it on TV and asked, "What if?"
I remember when we went to 3 divisions, that a lot of people were like up in arms, like, I can't believe you're doing this. It's how far we've come talking about 6 playoff teams now.
Well, I mean, we were just talking about basketball. 20 teams are going to the playoffs. That's more than half the league.
I saw. I forget what kind of video it was. It was funny though, where it was they were mocking the NCAA tournament and like, why doesn't we just put everybody in? And like the 1 seed was playing the 3-10 seed or something like that, and eventually, with playoff money, 20 out of 30 is reasonable, I guess. When you have play-ins, and so if you're the Chicago Bulls, you're not a playoff team. Playoff and play-in are different. Is that right?
I still consider the play-in. It's postseason. I still consider the play-in as but it's funny because
it's postseason, but it's not a playoff.
Well, and that's funny because I just love how the NCAA tournament was like, hey, everybody, we're going to increase to 68 teams. And America collectively was like, we're just going to ignore the first 4, right? We're just going to fill our brackets on Wednesday night.
Was St. Francis a tournament team?
Well, let's not get wrapped up in, let's not get too far down the weeds here.
We only talk about D1 teams. I get it.
I was going to make the point before, by the way, that the Vlad Guerrero deal will run until you and I are in our 60s.
Don't do it. Come on now. I already have too much white down here. I wasn't going to go our age. I was going to use my daughter as as a measuring stick. A first grader who is 3 years post high school. Wow. But yeah, that's speaking of the NL West.
My oldest son will be in his 30s.
Incredible. Wow. I get emails from Major League Baseball, by the way, and it's part of some of the stuff we talk about. And so one of them this week was the best thing that you could say about each team so far. And I thought, wow, what can you say about the Yankees? And they talked about how Ben Rice was really picking up the slack when Stanton got hurt, and how the Yankees need his bat in the lineup. And my first thought is, man, you need Garrett Cole back on the bump, because they've lost 4 out of 5. They really, it feels like they need Max Fried to be that guy to just stop the bleeding every 5 days, because holy cow, there's a lot of bleeding. Like the Giants came in last night and just pounded them.
We lost to the White Sox.
I was going to say, Will Warren's on the mound today, this afternoon. We'll see. But then I looked up some Boston stuff. In that article, I talked about Wilyer Abreu, who's having a really, really good second year. Leads the team, 364, 3 home runs. A lot of good to say about them. But then when I saw your schedule, you've also lost 4 or 5, and you got absolutely slapped by the White Sox. Holy cow. Death by paper cuts. No home runs, but you lost 11-1. You got them again today. You can't lose 11-1, right? Not again. You'll take 2 or 3. You got Crochet pitching tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think New York might possibly get swept by the Giants. That's a distinct fear.
And they're the national. They're on FS1 later today. So I'll probably be checking that out. Yeah, the Red Sox have been very up and down, and so now I think they're 7-8 now. They had been 500, so I think they're 7-8.
We have a game lead in the loss column.
Okay.
We're both looking up at Toronto, though.
Yeah, Toronto. Well, no one in the AL East is really lighting the world on fire, though. Because what's Toronto like 9-6?
9 I thought they were 9-4, but
9-4,
something like that.
Yeah,
8-6. What do I know? 8-6.
Okay, so yeah, barely above 500, and it's early, but
it is. I mean, we're going to get bent out of shape 9% of the way into the season, but yeah, that's what we do. We get bent out of shape.
That's what baseball's for. If
it's I
162 games, but we shout batter to batter.
I saw this thing on Facebook the other day that made me smile, and it was like a daily affirmation. I will not let a man wearing a baseball jersey affect my mood for the next 3 months. And the kid who forwarded it wrote, yeah, too late. So that's what it is. Email today. Honestly, an email just about an hour ago from MLB. I get this headline. Check this out. A ranking early season concerns for 6 playoff teams, or 6 playoff hopefuls. And I thought, oh, cool, maybe some more Yankees Red Sox stuff. The first one was about the Orioles rotation. Okay, makes a lot of sense. Then the article talks about the Guardians, the Mariners, Twins, Braves. Yeah, that's fine. It was the second team that they talked about with this headline: the Pirates roster around Paul schemes. Did I wake up in Delulu-land? Is Pittsburgh a playoff hopeful somehow? There's 2 teams in the NL with fewer wins. Yeah, I get it. We're 9% of the way through the season. Pittsburgh, playoff hopeful. Did I get a concussion over the weekend during the week that I just didn't know about?
I mean, I've seen people who before the season started were picking them to win the Central. That division. Okay. There's no clear-cut favorite.
I thought the Cubs and Brewers were heads and shoulders above the Pirates. I mean, when the Pirates play their home opener and they're booing the management, that's not a recipe for long summer success.
Hey, look at the 87 Lou Brown Cleveland Indians, right? They hated management and they turned it into motivation.
I love the way you think, Tim, because here we go, Lou Brown. So we drafted last week, and what we did, I thought this was really fun, and I will tell you right off the top of the bat, what you did was super impressive, because I had my notes, and did you ever find your notes?
I did not.
So you're going to be doing spring cleaning someday. You're going to find this sheet of paper. Willie Mays Hayes. What? What is this?
You know what? I was going through work papers that were on my table, and I bet I threw out my note with some of my like outdated work stuff.
But you put together a team. I put together a team, and then we thought it'd be neat to tell ChatGPT, hey, let's play a series. So here's what I wrote, and I had to play the series out so that because it would only do one game at a time. The first prompt I gave it, I said, I would like you to simulate a 7-game series between 2 baseball teams made up entirely of characters from movies. I will give you the starting lineups for each team and their pitcher. I'd like you to simulate the games, provide me with box scores and details of the games. Play game, and since you got the first pick in the draft, I stole home field advantage. I said play games 1, 2, 6, and 7 at the blue team home field. Play games 3, 4, and 5 at the red team home field. So we're playing like the World Series type thing. And so your lineup, I'll give people your lineup. I won't make you do it if you don't have it.
I don't.
You led off with Willie Mays Hayes from Major League 2, and I made sure to let it know like it's Major League 2. Your second batter was Roger Dorn from Major League. Third was Roy Hobbs from the Natural. Jack Parkman from Major League 2 cleaning up. Jack Elliott, Mr. Baseball 5. Crash Davis, Bull Durham 6. Pedro Serrano batting 7th was a little surprising for me for Major League. And then the Bad News Bears, Kelly Leak and Tanner Boyle 8 and 9. I said Nuke LaLoosh is the starting pitcher. Duke Simpson, the relief pitcher. Give them Lou Brown as their manager. So that was your starting lineup. My starting lineup, I also led off amazingly with Willie Mays Hayes, but mine was from Major League. I put Davis Birch from For Love of the Game second, Clue Haywood batting third, Ricky Davis, the guy from Mr. Baseball, batting fourth, Rex Pennebaker from Mr. 3000 fifth, Sam Tuttle for Love of the Game, Dottie Hinson, A League of Their Own, Max Hammer Dubois, Mr. Baseball, Marlo Hooch at 9 from A League of Their Own. And then Steve Nebraska, my pitcher, Rigoberto Sanchez, my relief pitcher, and manager Uchiyama. So the thing said, I'm ready. Let's dive in. I'll simulate, blah, blah, blah. Let's kick things off with game 1. So game 1 is played at my home field. And I will tell you, your team got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got 7 hits. It was not a good one for you. But my team only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hits. But a couple of more mine left the yard. The blue team wins game 1, 6-2. Ricky Davis hit a solo home run, and Davis, Birch, and Pennebaker each got RBIs. So I got game 1.
Did it specify what your home field was?
No, no.
That would have been interesting to like play with like different dimensions.
Yeah. I just said home field. I'll mess around with it at the end of it here. So So it says that was a solid performance from the blue team. Let's move on to game 2 at the blue team's home field, and then it stopped. I was like, okay, and I had to write let's do game 2. So same lineups once again. I think this would have been really strange if we would have drafted 3 pitchers.
Yeah.
Game 2, another dominant outing from Steve Nebraska, allowing 1 run on 6 hits. His fastball was nearly unhittable, striking out 7. Nuke LaLoosh was a little wild. Clue Haywood hits a 2-run home run. Blue team wins 5-1.
Fastball unhittable, but Serrano straight pitch he hit very much.
You have him batting 7th, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. Where was your RBI in that one? Tanner Boyle, your second baseman, knocked somebody.
Overachiever.
Probably knocked in Pedro Serrano or Crash Davis, because Crash Davis had a walk and Pedro was 1 for 4. So 5-1, a dominant performance, taking a 2-game series lead. Game 3 at the red team's home field coming up next. So you're Lou Brown. You're down 2-0. You're going home. What are you telling the guys?
I'm probably thinking about how good I had it at the tire shop at Tire World.
Who are you leaning on now? Who are you going up to in the clubhouse saying, I need something from you?
You've got to go up to the old grizzled veteran, in the heart of the order. You got to go up to Hobbs.
I love you saying that, because now in game 3, we are at the red team's home field. And in the first inning, Roy Hobbs launches a 2-run home run, putting the red team up 2-0 early.
There we go, Roy.
Nuke LaLoosh bouncing back from a rough start, throwing 7 solid innings, allowing just 3 runs on 8 hits. Only 5 strikeouts, though, so a little un-Nuke-like.
Well, they're communist. They're fascist.
In the 7th inning, Tanner Boyle comes up with a clutch single. Tanner Boyle is like 8 years old. He's hitting Rigoberto Sanchez in the 7th, putting the red team up 5-2. Your final score in game 3: red team 6, blue team 3.
There we go, boys.
Now a 2-1 series lead, and you got to feel pretty good because you're still at home. Game 4 coming up. Guess who the hero of game 4 is once again?
Is it Hobbs again?
It's Roy Hobbs again, going 2 for 4 with a 2-run home run.
This guy's a natural.
As the red team goes to gets a 7-4 win, ties the series, and Nuke LaLoosh gets the best outing of his series: 8 innings, 4 runs on 9 hits, 6 strikeouts. They jumped on Nebraska early again. That seems to be the key for the red team, if you can get to Nebraska early.
And I bet Nuke was wearing Susan Sarandon's underwear, which probably.
Yeah. And that's as far as we'll go there. First mention of Jack Parkman here gets an RBI double, and Pedro Serrano gets an RBI in the 3rd. 4-0 lead in the 3rd inning, and they just leaned on the blue team. Tie series now, 2-2. Final home game for the red team coming up, and not shocking, in the 1st inning, Roy Hobbs. Oh no, I'm sorry, it was the 3rd inning. 2nd home run. Which is a lie, because it's his 3rd home run. It's his 3rd home run in home games. Another big win for the red team, 5-3. Roger Dorn gets an RBI for you, and
where was his wife last night?
It said Willie Mays Hayes added a single, but I don't know whose Willie Mays Hayes that is. The Duke comes into the 9th, gets the save for a 5-3 win. Now we're going back to blue. Red team shows up with a 3-2 series lead. I'm going to tell you, it says Roy Hobbs hits another home run in game 6. I don't know why Nebraska is pitching to him at this point.
Yeah, just put him on base.
Here's the thing, though. Roger Dorn, 0 for 4. Willie Mays Hayes, yours, 1 for 4. Pedro, 0 for 4. A lot of offers. Steve Nebraska comes through. Complete game for the blue team. 9 hits scattered, struck out 6. And the red team drops a tough one. The blue team gets a home run from Ricky Davis, his first mention here. 6-4 in game 6. Dottie Hinson also gets an RBI single for this one. So of all of the drafts we did, we go to game 7.
The Widowmaker. And
here it is. Roy Hobbs once again hits a home run. He's having a Freddie Freeman series, 2 for 4 in game 7.
Is that 5 home runs for Hobbs?
I think it's 6. Really incredible. But you got offers from Parkman, Kelly Leak, Tanner Boyle. Another a tough day for Pedro and Willie Mays Hayes. Down on my end, Ricky Davis hits another 2-run home run. 7-5 blue team win. And I really think it's just because we were home.
No one broke serve. Yeah.
So their conclusion, the blue team is your champions of the simulated 7-game series, a thrilling comeback in game 6, clutch performance in game 7. Roy Hobbs did everything he could do, but it wasn't enough. The series lived up to the excitement with plenty of dramatic moments, memorable performances from both teams. I'm going to ask it something. Do you think the series changes if the red team has home field advantage?
Also, did it list an MVP? Does Hobbs get MVP in the losing effort?
It did not. It did. I did ask it for series stats, and it's totally wrong because it has Roy Hobbs with 3 home runs. So, it doesn't really. It's neat to play with, but it's not the smartest AI ever.
Yeah.
It's a great. It just says it's a great what if. Home field could absolutely have swung things for the red team because of course it could. What would change? It talks about the red team's ERA at home versus on the road. Intangibles. I love this. Like, this is the thing. Manager Lou Brown felt more confident with aggressive base running at home. Willie Mays Hayes steals more bases at home. He plays more games at home.
Yeah.
Well, no, I guess it's 81, whatever. Crash Davis handled Nuke better at home, fewer wild pitches. Duke Simpson looked more relaxed out of the home bullpen. That's neat. So I had a good time with this one.
But even though home and away, you're still playing more at home because it's 81 in one ballpark and then 81 spread over all the other ballparks.
Yeah, I can see that. I'd be interested to see if we redrafted pitchers. So, like, if you'd get like the next pitcher, I'd get next. We'll have to do something like that with basketball, but I don't think there's that many fictional basketball characters that we could use.
Yeah,
but maybe
Blue Chips.
I mean, I got Billy Ho,
the fish that saved Pittsburgh.
Yeah, after White Man Can't Jump, I got nothing. And I got nothing.
Oh, semi-pro.
Was that guy? Was it Jackie something? Jackie Moon?
Yeah, Jackie Moon.
Okay, like
everybody love everybody.
I think I saw that movie like super long ago when it was on TBS or something. So I don't really know much about it. But we'll see.
So I have a lot of love for semi-pro, and I can remember when the Jackie Moon gets hurt, and then it's just the announcers. It's Andy Daly and Will Arnett are the announcers, and Andy Daly, he's not even on screen. It's just his voice, and he says, and Jackie Moon's teammates taking him off the floor and just doing a terrible job of stabilizing the neck and spine.
Well, it's about that time. We really should talk about the NFL before we get fined. I heard this on the radio. And it's interesting with the NFL draft coming up, and we're going to do our little mock draft here in a second. The people on the radio were talking about they're all but pushing T.J. Watt out of Pittsburgh, and in Pittsburgh's attempt to get a quarterback, Aaron Rodgers was in town. It doesn't appear that that's going to be a fit for whatever reason. If you're Pittsburgh, what do you think you could get for Watt? And would it be enough to first of all make the move, and then where would you go for quarterback?
Well, you can always move up. If it depends what they think of Shedeur Sanders, because I don't. That's the thought. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be there at 21.
If he gets out of the top 10 for us,
right? But I feel like. How old's Watt now? Is he 30?
You are right on the dot. He was born October 11th, 1994. That makes him 30 years old.
Okay. So he'll turn 31 this season.
During the season.
Mm-hmm.
And he's earning a base salary of $21 million. So he does not come cheap to whoever would trade for him.
And look, they're different players, but you have to look at first the way that JJ broke down, and just in general the way that defensive linemen, they don't all play until they're 37 or 38. Like
But a guy like Watt though, a guy like Watt, like an edge guy who's just speed rusher, he could still provide value for a good team. Like I mean, heck, Brandon Graham was still playing for the Eagles, and he's 97 years old.
I mean, JJ was still providing value when he was with the Cardinals.
Just got lost with the Cardinals.
I think
that's what happened.
I would be very intrigued to see what kind of like package deals teams would throw at Pittsburgh for TJ. Given his age, given the price tag, and given what Pittsburgh needs.
I don't know what Pittsburgh needs. Pittsburgh needs a quarterback, but they need Buffalo, Baltimore, and Kansas City to be in a different conference.
Yeah,
they're just not. They're not at that level, and I don't think they're getting to that level in the next 2-3 years through the draft.
And they've had a great offseason, but has their offseason been good enough to get them out of the divisional round?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
So
they're not better than Baltimore. They're not better than Kansas City. They're not better than Buffalo.
You're in that funk that I always felt the Bears were in for a long time, where you were too good to be bad and too bad to be good, and you're going to be consistently drafting in the low teens. And in the first round, you miss out on the top 3 potential blue chip world changers. But it's not just there; it's you're picking in the low to middle of rounds 4 and 5, and like when you get those depth guys, it's better to be. It's better to be at the top than at the bottom. And right now, like I said, the fact that Pittsburgh hasn't had a losing season in as long as they have, I was watching the Yankee game. They were playing Detroit, and they mentioned something that the Yankees hadn't had a losing record in 32 years. And you think to yourself, that's a long time. In football, for what Pittsburgh has done is also a really long time.
Yeah, I mean, they've been good seemingly my entire lifetime.
And that's in a salary cap strapped league where there's parity. That's tough. So that's along with our mock draft later. We're not going to get fined this week. Quick hitter time. There's some cool stuff here, man. I hope you're ready for this stuff because
I'm always ready for the
stuff.
Quick hitter.
So this is the part of the show where I don't tell Tim what's coming. This is his reaction. I saw this on Thursday, and I think this is neat. Out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, there was a minor league player named Imarian Boyd. He was the first minor leaguer in at least 20 years to steal 6 bases in a game without getting a hit. He was batting ninth. He played center field. His team won 10-0. He reached on a fielder's choice, a walk, and he was hit by a pitch. He stole second and third every time he was on base. According to the AP, no player has stolen 6 bases with no hits in a major league game since at least 1901 when stats were kept. Tim, on a scale of 1 to 100, how impressive is this?
Whew. I'm not going to call it 100, but it's in the 90s. I'll give it a solid 95.
95. That's kind of where I was like, imagine 6 stolen bases, period, but you don't get a hit. That's
like it's not quite at the level of like when Fernando Tatis hit
2 grand slams in
the same inning, but it's in the conversation.
It's up there. Okay. I had this. This is like one of the cheap ones that doesn't have to be current. But I have an answer to this, and I think my answer is right. Tim, you could have any job in sports, anything at all. And let's just say, like, you're like 18-year-old Tim. You're not the Tim of today. So, running and jumping might not be they're not painful. Yeah. But you're not the best at anything. You're just you're Tim. And I'm just Max. What's the best job in sports for you?
So when you say best, I'm thinking the job where I'm making the most money with the least like risk to my body.
Take that for what it's worth. I mean, if you want to be a sideline reporter for, the PBA bowling tour, rock and roll.
What about being like a really good golfer. That's something I've always been jealous of. That I never got into golf when I was younger.
Ever since the day you almost you broke the window in that barn at the 3-hole
I
pitching
hit a
putt.
barn behind me. Yeah. Let's see
No,
Tiger Woods do that.
no risk of either of us winning the Masters this weekend. That's for sure.
No, I'm out of contention, sadly. Me and Phil Mickelson.
Really good golfer. That's not bad. I could get down with that. My choice was punter.
I was thinking that,
Because I mean, you place
holder.
even on a bad team, you place 17 days of work. Where I mean, some days you're not working at all. You just go out and stretch, and maybe you punt once or twice. It's illegal to hit you. You can fake getting hit and help your team. Practice, let's be honest, you're not doing anything in practice. You're stretching and kicking a couple times and you're done. Place kicker, so much pressure. Down by 2, 1 second left, Super Bowl in the wind. No, who needs that smoke? No, give me punter, because what's the league minimum? 800,000. I'll be fine.
Yeah, even practice squad players pretty physically taxing though.
Oh no, you can't be on the practice squad. They get beat up.
Yeah,
we're trying to have a smooth time practice.
Yeah, no bruises, no bruises.
All right, number 3. This week, the Minecraft movie opens up. I'm not sure if you heard about that. It's not an animated movie, from what I've saw. It's not that they have who's that guy who was Aquaman?
Jason Momoa
looks like Roman Reigns. Jason Momoa is in the Minecraft movie.
Jack Black.
And yeah. So we're gonna go see it with the kids today. The kids want to go see it. It's not an animated movie, but Tim, what is your favorite animated movie?
Wow. Oh boy. Favorite animated movie.
That is. This is you right off the top of your head, and this might change from the answer you give me. Like an hour later, you'd be like, "Oh, I forgot about this." So I'll hold it to you.
I'm going to say Toy Story.
My favorite was the Super Mario Brothers movie.
I almost said The Incredibles. I really like The Incredibles.
That's a good one too. There used to be the Lego movie, but the Super Mario movie. Did you see that?
The one with Charlie Day and Chris Pratt doing the voices?
I guess. It was the most recent one.
Okay, yeah, I did not see it.
Oh, so check it out. I'm not going to say it's going to beat Toy Story for you. There's enough Easter eggs in it that makes it enjoyable for adults.
I heard
and Maria liked it, so she'll watch it over and over with me. So that's cool.
I've seen a bunch of videos that make no sense to me about people seeing the Minecraft movie and freaking out about a chicken jockey.
I don't know Minecraft. I mean, I know enough that my kids like it. They'll play it, but I'm just going to eat lousy popcorn and spend $600 at a theater.
Getting icy. It's never a bad move. Icy's always a good call.
Icy's the win. Okay. Hopefully they have ices there. They should. Coke Icy at Hills after bowling in one of those
with the baseball helmets. Yeah.
Or the football. Yeah, they had the football ones. I had a bunch of those at the house, but they were so dirty. I think my mom threw them away.
I remember in 1993 getting a Florida Marlins, not Miami Marlins, cup in like the teal and black Jeff Conine Marlins colors, and I was very excited because that was their first year.
Yeah, there you go. Good times. All right, number 4. Today is David Letterman's birthday. There's no question here. Just the dap you deserve for writing the top 10 reasons Hazleton beat Williamsport back in 1995. When Coach Matz fell, it caused a seismic schism, forcing us to become Williamsport and Williamsport us. And I think one of my favorites was the Millionaire's complete lack of schnee. Do you remember any of the other top 10 reasons Hazleton beat Williamsport back in 1995?
I don't remember anything else off that list.
What a great list that was, though.
I remember there was a reference to Al Donde.
Yeah,
but I can't remember what the reference was. He was the equipment guy. For anyone watching who's not aware of Al,
who are these idiots talking about?
Yeah.
You wrote it down. It could have been spread out over classes, but I think you shared it with me during accounting.
Yeah.
And Richie Robbins, who was a really good offensive lineman for us, he transferred in from Pittsburgh that year. I don't know if Richie Robbins laughed or was like mad at it. I think he had a good sense of humor about it.
I remember him thinking it was funny because then like a bunch of the seniors kept like asking me, they were like, "What's this list?" I was like, "All right, well, all right." I was a little bored during accounting.
I'm just trying not to get don't slap me around because when I said Williamsport becomes us, now that was a funny list. So in honor of David Letterman and all this entertainment that he brought, your top 10 was the best top 10 I've ever heard anywhere. So there it is.
And happy birthday to David Letterman, my second favorite late night host behind Conan.
Maybe my 14th favorite Dave of all time.
He's one of the Daves, you know.
You know what? That's what we should draft Daves next week. Just
our favorite Daves.
Sure, why not? But
I can tell you, my brother might be an honorable mention.
Oh no! Well, I'll draft.
I've got a long memory, David.
When he broke your tooth
and give me a concussion. Hit me in the head with a bat.
Unbelievable. All right, so what we are drafting this week, we're actually doing a draft, like a legit draft. Last week we decided that we were going to do a mock draft because I think the NFL draft starts in 2 weeks. I don't know if we're going to get to do a show next week though, with the holiday, and I'm doing Easter pie with my dad and all the stuff. So we're going to get out ahead of the NFL draft, and we did the card. I forget what we had last week. Was it Magna Carta? I don't know what it was, but I got the top pick.
It might have been the Civil Rights Act.
Sure. Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch the broadcast. But I got the top pick, so I got all the odds. I'm picking for the Titans, Giants, Jaguars, Jets, and Saints. Tim, you're picking for Cleveland, New England, Las Vegas, Carolina, and my Chicago Bears. So don't mess that one up, please.
Okay.
And I looked at this as partially what I think they need, more of what I think they're going to do. With number one, it's easy because the Titans didn't take any meetings with Travis Hunter. They didn't take any meetings with Shedeur Sanders. I think it's pretty clear they're going to go with Cam Ward. They need a quarterback. Cam Ward is one of, if not the best quarterback in this pool. So number one is going to be Cam Ward. That's pretty clear.
Yeah.
I don't want to say they're going to take, Joe Smith, and you can have Cam Ward, but try to be a little realistic.
I mean, between need and the talent available that Ward has, he seems to be pretty much a slam dunk at number one.
But I mean, the draft really starts at 2. Cleveland can go a lot of different ways.
Right. So this is not where I think they're going to go, but this is what I would pick if I was picking for Cleveland. I wouldn't have Abdul Carter. I still think he's the best player in this draft. I know the injuries, but just visions of him and Myles Garrett on opposite sides of the defense. I think Abdul Carter could be an absolute terror. I like him too for Cleveland.
We talked about this before. It's the medical thing for me that scares me, just because he didn't do his pro day. If he's healthy on the opposite side of Myles Garrett, that is a scary defensive line, and I would not want to be an opposing offensive line or quarterback in that situation. We might become an interior trap running team very quickly. So absolutely tremendous pick. No argument there. What I tried to do is I tried to have at least 2 or 3 picks. Abdul Carter was on the board for the Giants. They need a defensive lineman. Everybody could use an edge rusher. They need to find a long-term solution to their quarterback problem. But Joe Shane, their general manager, I think bringing in Winston and bringing in Wilson, I don't think there's going to be room for Sanders in that quarterback room. I don't think that's what they're going to do at 3. And I think they're going to go with what you would imagine is the best player available. So we're going to take Travis Hunter to go to the Giants.
Yeah.
And I don't know where he play. I don't know where he plays. If he's a wideout or a defensive back, the talk was that he might do both, but he can't do both. Can he?
I think it's going to be a situation where he's going to play corner, and then in certain packages they might run him out.
Okay.
as a receiver.
That's fair.
If he falls to 3, he's a steal, because a lot of years he could go number 1. You know, um, I'm very impressed with Travis Hunter, and I think whoever gets it, I don't want him to go to the Giants. I don't want him in the NFC East unless he's wearing midnight green. So that would be a great
how long was Barkley a Giant? How long do you have to wait?
Yeah, can we steal him away, and can we put it on TikTok?
Can you make a Netflix documentary about it? Why not?
All right, so who's got the 4th pick?
You have the 4th pick with the New England Patriots.
Okay, so the Patriots have significantly upgraded their offense, and I think I'm between 2 people for New England. I'm going to go Mason Graham.
You're going to take Mason Graham, the defensive tackle.
Yeah, I'm going to go defense.
Michigan. The Patriots have a good track record with Michigan players, both offensively and defensively. Brady, Law. Mason Graham he's a scary dude. I saw a video of him. I want to say it was against Penn State, so I will, where the Penn State running back broke. He broke through the offensive line. He juked the linebacker and he's running, and Mason Graham ran him down in game. Like that's game speed, not 40-yard dash in Indianapolis. He's a game-changing defensive tackle.
Yeah, and I don't think his ceiling is necessarily as high as Abdul Carter's, but I also think he has like Pro Bowl caliber potential, and he can be a guy that you rely on for 10 to 12 years on your interior.
All right. So I actually had – so Mason Graham, so one of the guys that I thought Jacksonville might go for, they need D linemen. And I wrote this down because I knew we were going to talk about J.J. Watt. How about this? I mean, we're not going to do trades because that's ridiculous. But would the Steelers trade J.J. Watt for Trevor Lawrence?
T.J. Watt.
That too. Would they trade T.J. Watt? I wrote J.J. because I'm an idiot. If you're the Steelers, would you trade T.J. Watt for Trevor Lawrence? I don't know if they would because of the contract, but there's a quarterback for you. And then if Jacksonville is able to pull that off with some of the other stuff, because it's going to take other draft picks, they might draft Shedeur Sanders at 5. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't want to speculate on trades. The other thing, since Graham is gone, I think they might, if this is how it goes down, they might try to trade down and look at a guy like Jalen Walker. But as they're sitting right here at number 5, and they have to take somebody, I'm going to destroy this guy's name. The top-rated tackle in the draft, Armand.
Embu?
Membu. Yeah, I'm a terrible
I think the first M is silent.
There we go.
Yeah.
The offensive tackle from Missouri ends up going 5th to the Jaguars.
So I was between. I almost took him for the Patriots when I was thinking offense or defense. So
Drake May would have liked it, but Drake May is not going to like Mason Graham not running after him for another team.
So now I have the pick. Who am I picking for?
The Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, this feels like a natural spot for Ashton Genty.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of the mocks have him going. Pete Carroll wants
to run the ball
of beast mode. They have a quarterback. I don't know if they have their quarterback. So Sanders gets dropped again, and I think Ginty would like playing in Vegas. So I don't think it's a terrible pick. Good job.
And it's just nice to see running backs, like a revival for running backs, where we're talking about them in MVP conversations like we did with Saquon and Derrick Henry, and we can talk about Genty for the Heisman back in December, and now as a top 10 guy. Yeah. I like him in Vegas.
Yeah, so do I. So now Now we have the Jets. The Jets at 7, and the Jets are goofy. I actually looked back at their last 6 drafts. You got to check this out. 2019, with the 3rd pick in the draft, they pick a defensive lineman, and later in the 3rd round, they pick a defensive lineman. 2020, the 11th pick in the draft, offensive tackle. 2021, 14th pick in the draft, offensive tackle. 2022, their first pick in the 2nd round, offensive tackle. 2023, they pick a defensive lineman in the 1st round, but in round 2, they pick an offensive lineman, and in round 3, they pick another offensive tackle. Last year, their number 1 pick, Oli Fashanu, offensive tackle. And a lot of mock drafts have them taking the offensive tackle from Missouri, Armand Membu. How many tackles can they take? You can only start 2. So
they're going to get it right one of these times.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that they're going to go get Justin Fields a safety valve. I'm going to take the tight end. I'm going to take a lineman, but I'm going to take a tight end from Penn State, Ty Warren.
Oh, okay. I thought that was going a different way.
You think I was going to take another tackle? Because why not?
No, but I had Warren here on my list just because I haven't seen him in a lot of top 10s, but just with his skill set, I can't imagine a team not wanting that kind of like diversity to their offense where he can do a lot of things really well.
The only thing that I think this isn't going to happen. The Jets drafting Penn State tight ends are going to evoke memories of
Kyle Brady.
Yeah, that's a big one. And the fact that Aaron Glenn is a defensive-minded coach. But
right.
I don't know. The Jets might trade down for a guy like Jalen Walker in that situation. The problem is at 7, who is somebody trading up to get? That's the thing.
Okay.
There's no second quarterback. Like Sanders is there, but I mean the Jets aren't drafting Shedeur Sanders. No. I don't think. So like if you're looking at him, if you're Pittsburgh, where's Pittsburgh drafting? Let me look this
21,
up.
I believe.
21. And there's thoughts that he might fall. We did this. Denver, Tampa, Seattle, Cincinnati, Arizona, Atlanta. They're not drafting a quarterback in the 1st round.
Look what happened to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. So I think you could see this. I don't think anybody's trading up into the top 10 to get this guy. 9 is interesting. 9, we'll see what happens at 9.
Right. Oh, I dropped my list.
Uh-oh, there it goes. Now the Panthers are on their own.
Okay. So I'm picking for the Panthers here.
You got the Panthers here at number 8.
They have a lot of needs.
and you are there to try to help them.
I'm going to go defense for the Panthers. Just because Georgia's been such a pipeline for defensive talent, and I'm going to take Mikael Williams from Georgia, edge guy.
Okay, so I got to make sure I spell this right because if I put this online, I don't want to look dumb. Edge Georgia. Okay, cool. Like I said, everybody in the league can use an edge rusher. That's one of the big needs for all of them. I've seen Williams anywhere rated from 8 down to 20. So it's not a value pick, but not a terrible pick. So
and just like I'd said, that pipeline of like the success that Georgia guys have had coming into the league, especially on the defensive front and making immediate impacts. Jalen Carter.
Yes. So I have the Saints at 9.
And this is interesting.
Yeah. So I lost my Google Doc. It froze up. So you got to give me a second here. I have them needing QB, offensive line, wide receiver, corner. So here's the thing. If you need a corner, Will Johnson is just a really intriguing prospect. I mean, we talk about injuries with Abdul Carter. He's another one who just I don't think he did his pro day either.
But he's a guy who comes in and, you get the feeling that by week 6, he's locked in as the number 1 cornerback on the roster.
Super concerning. But, I think the Saints in some weird world end up going with a wide receiver, and we're going to end up taking the second best receiver, and I'm not going to say this guy's first name, McMillan from Arizona. His first name is listed as Tatoria. I'm a terrible person. I haven't heard his name pronounced, but over 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns for the Wildcats. And I think the Saints go wide receiver. I think the injuries to Will Johnson are enough to push him out. And honestly, I had 2 other guys listed there as well. That honestly, I'm anybody taking them out of the top 10 is insane value this year.
It's funny because for a league that is so pass heavy and so driven by receiving talent, this draft is very poor on receivers. Travis Hunter, he's going to go top 3, but he's going top 3 because he's very good at both. But there were a lot of people who felt. Is it McMillan? I can't even remember his last name now. Is that what
McMillan is his last name?
Yeah, that he should have won the Biletnikoff because Hunter didn't have the offensive numbers, just because he's spread a little thin between offense and defense.
And McMillan, he's got the best size. I just looked him up. 6'4", 219. He's a big dude. Travis Hunter, barely scraped 6 feet.
Yeah. He's like a DK Metcalf type.
So I think the Saints are happy with him at 9.
All right, now the one you've been waiting for.
Yeah, and who? So I'm going to tell. Give me a second here, because if I'm picking for them, I'm certainly not picking Shitter Sanders. I know who I think I would go for. Yeah, I would be happy with him, despite what has happened. So, who are my Bears taking?
I want to protect Caleb Williams. I'm taking Will Campbell from LSU.
Yes. That's who I would pick. I mean, they've addressed their offensive line in free agency, but if Will Campbell falls, you can't have enough linemen. It's like pitching. All right. I mean,
right, and especially a guy with top 10 caliber potential.
Caleb Williams was sacked 66 times last year, 3rd most all time. I mean,
you don't want him to become David Carr.
You can't put enough money in the O-line. You can't. The other intriguing name is Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina. I think 10 is a little high for him, but I've seen him go 10 in some mocks.
And it's funny because the other name I was considering was another name that we love, Colston Loveland.
I think 10 is high for him.
I do too. I think it's a reach, but I've seen some mock drafts that have him in the back half.
I just saw one. I think it was the CBS one that had him. Listen, if I'm looking at this ranking list, it has Loveland at 17. It has Will Johnson at 6. If you don't like the tackle from Texas, where was he? Banks, he had dropped. He was down to 18. If somebody wants to jump up and say, we want Will Campbell, and if you're the Bears and you can make a deal with, say, Atlanta at 15, if they want to protect Penix, or Cincinnati at 17, maybe even, and you could get a Colston Loveland at 17 and maybe pick up a 3rd or 4th along the way, I'd be down with that.
Sure.
But where we have our guys, I think we did a good job. I don't know why they wouldn't listen to us. We obviously know what we're doing. Yeah. Best job in sports, GM, until you get fired.
Yeah.
Top 5 this week, because it's kind of interesting. So you had said we should do something about the scariest people in sports, not like that other guys don't want to play against, but like not the best, but guys you wouldn't want to fight.
Intimidating.
Guys you wouldn't want to fight. So you went I think you said something about one in every league. So here's what I did. I picked one from every league, but I picked a wild card in there as well because it's the top 5. So
I also picked one in every league, and I'll have to think what I'm doing with my 5th spot.
I actually wrote this down. I'm sure you can come up with a 5th on the spot. Shoot, you drafted an entire baseball roster of movie characters on the spot. So there's that. I don't care what order we go in. I think some of mine are just I don't know where I would rank them. So the Titans picked first over here. So Tim, why don't you lead us off here with your top 5 scariest dudes? And I'll just follow suit. Whatever league you pick, I'll pick.
Okay, so I'm going to start with baseball.
Okay.
Because that was what inspired this thought. Because there aren't many players who get hit by a pitch and tell the umpire, no, I don't want the base. I'm going to take some more cuts, please, and thank you. Albert Bell was the scariest dude, certainly in my lifetime.
It's
just
not
Fernando Vina, if he's scary.
I was say it's not the hit by pitch for me. It was the tackle of Fernando Vina at second base.
He just, there's breaking up a double play, and then there's breaking up Fernando Vina's collarbone.
And there's lead blocking. There's lead blocking for Neil Anderson right there.
And the best part of him when he ran into Vina is, so obviously he's out and he has to walk back through the infield to his dugout. And no one on the Brewers was like, oh, we've got Fernando Vina's back. They were like, nope, you pass on through. I don't want this smoke.
No. Yep. Yeah, Albert Bell was my number 1. Absolutely, hands down, without a doubt. So, I mean, if we're not doing this top 5 style, like if you have Albert Bell and I have to pick somebody else, I did have a couple other names listed. Nolan Ryan. First of all,
sure.
I have 3 pitchers on the list. After what Nolan Ryan did to Robin Ventura when Nolan Ryan was like 47 years old.
Yeah, took him to the Noogie Academy.
I mean, nobody was ever going to rush him again. The other 2 pitchers I put, Norm Charlton, one of the nasty boys.
I would go Dibble. I think Dibble was even scarier.
I think Charlton
was Lou Piniella, his own manager.
I thought Charlton might have been crazier. Scary. Yeah, okay, this is a scary list. And the other one, I think the obvious one is like Bob Gibson, who...
Oh, yeah. He boxed in the Army. Like, no one would charge him.
Not messing with it. And the other name I put down, just because of his sheer size and just ornery attitude, was Barry Bonds.
Oh, yeah.
But my number 1 was Albert Bell, just because it was going to be Albert Bell. Who was the guy? Was it Izzy Alcantara who sidekicked the catcher?
Karate kick? Yeah, Izzy Alcantara. Because then he was playing in AAA back when they were still the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Red Barons.
Yeah.
It was a getaway game, so it was like at 11 a.m. And me and my friends were heckling Izzy. And he came over and he was the first baseman. We're just every time between innings. And he came over and he gave me a free ball and he was like, we're good now. And I was like, yeah, man, thanks. Thanks for not kicking me.
That's awesome. Yeah, but he was he was only dangerous in the batter's box.
Yes.
Good call.
All right, so then you can go with whatever sport and I'll follow your lead.
Oh, you want to go with me now?
Sure.
I had MLB first, and then the next one I had NFL. So many choices. I mean, holy cow. I have all kinds of honorable mentions. It boiled down to not only like a guy I wouldn't want to see in a dark alley because he looked so scary. I know he could absolutely just murder me by looking at me. I'm taking Greg Lloyd.
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't make a lot of, like, I did a search, like, scariest players ever. He didn't make a lot of lists, and I don't know why. He was scary.
And along those lines, this isn't my choice, but I thought about LT, about how no one wanted to mess with him, especially during, his when he was
the
coke.
Yeah, the coked out LT version.
Yeah. But
he made lists, more so. But I think Greg Lloyd looked scary. He wasn't a better player, but
avoiding the obvious reasons, I think about a guy whose teammates were like, "What is wrong with this dude?" It's Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah, that's
Like even beyond the fact that he murdered people.
Yeah, I mean, you could go Ray Carruth or Ray Lewis or none of that stuff. Like
OJ.
yeah. So on TikTok, I see movie clips, and I'm really interested in the Aaron Hernandez movie now because some of the clips I've seen are really interesting. Yeah, it's besides the obvious reasons.
Like
I
when
can
you
see
hear
that.
his teammates talk about him, and they're just like, "Oh no, that guy."
That boy ain't right.
Yeah.
But some of the others that made the list, I mean, so many you could pick from. Looks. Butkus. I don't know if you're getting Butkus or you're getting the guy who acted in My Two Dads.
I mean,
Butkus when he was on the field, oh, forget about it. But like in a dark alley, if you went up to him in an airport, he might give you a hug.
right.
He was like,
I mean,
bad. He was on Hang Time. He was on that NBC show Hang Time. Come on, man.
He did fight a referee, according to Jim Brown.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you look at somebody, I don't think Jack Lambert has more than 4 teeth, and he drools. He would just. I'm talking like they could murder you by looking at them.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And the other one, the other linebacker from Pittsburgh, James Harrison. Have you seen that man in the gym? Have you seen him lifting post-playing career? He's out here repping out 900 pounds. No, I kind of wet myself watching his lifting videos. I want him on my team every time.
You know, I'm convinced that the reason that no one was able to tackle him on that interception return, it definitely wasn't speed.
They didn't want to touch him.
They didn't want to be at fault for him being on the ground against his will.
They couldn't push him out of bounds. So, and like, there's the old NFL, just when men were men. The look, who was that? I'm trying to think of the NFL films. I was from Phoenix. Conrad Dobler.
Oh yeah,
he looked like a serial killer. He looked like a serial killer. Chuck Cecil with the nose blood.
Jack Tatum.
Tatum. Oh yeah, another one. Yeah, so you could make a top 10 of scariest NFL dudes, but that's the game, right? So that's that. So we got MLB, we got NFL. Where are you gonna go?
I'm gonna go NBA, and this is another one that I feel is a no-brainer for me anyway. It's Charles Oakley.
You're going Oakley. Oakley made my list.
Oakley was a bad enough man that when the whole league was afraid of Michael Jordan was only afraid of one person. That was Charles Oakley.
Yeah,
that's why Oakley started in Chicago, because they were working out together, and Oakley was pushing Jordan around and talking trash to him, and Jordan was like, "I want this guy as my enforcer. He's going to be Messier to my Gretzky."
I absolutely, and when he was with the Knicks. Those Knicks teams with Oakley, Anthony Mason, Xavier McDaniel, it was like watching the New York Giants play. They were. Pat Riley must have been just loving what he could have done defensively with that group. So with basketball, you could go with the entire '80s Detroit Pistons. I mean, Bill Laimbeer is a miserable human, but again, you look at him in a dark alley, it's whatever.
See, Laimbeer to me is a bit of a coward. He was like a sucker punch tough guy.
He was the heel in pro wrestling. Yeah.
He was like, he'd like poke you in the eyes and run away and cry to the ref.
I'm going to take somebody though who actually did physical assault, and it's not Ron Artest. I mean, it's one thing to jump in the stands.
He's a great one though.
It's not. It's one thing to jump in the stands and attack a fan, but it's another thing to attack your own coach. I'm going to take Latrell Sprewell.
Oh yeah.
Because his fuse is a little smaller than most, and if it blows, it's gonna be loud.
Knows.
It's gonna be big. So, but two good ones for the NBA, and I'm gonna be honest. I had to cheat with the NHL. I don't know enough about hockey. I know Alex Ovechkin and Wayne Gretzky and Dennis Bonvie. None of those three are really going to be inciting fear in people. So when I looked this up, I found a guy who has spent 3,300 minutes in the penalty box. That's 55 hours. A very sad ending to a story. When I read about his battles with drugs and addiction, it was really a bummer. But I don't think anybody's going to argue that Bob Probert would be the wrong guy to mess with in a dark alley.
Yeah, he was just goon personified.
Yeah, the undisputed king of the hockey fight. They called him. So
I don't know if he's undisputed, because I think I have a pretty good one.
Who are you disputing him with?
I'm going with Ty Domi from Toronto.
There you
go. Oh my God, he sweated more people than J.C. Penney's. He was a bad man, and now his son's in the league, and now you just see Ty Domi watching without a flicker of emotion in his eyes as his son's beating up probably Bob Probert's son.
Bob Probert had 2 daughters that I know of because they were interviewed on a thing about CTE and things like that. So I know so little about hockey. I'm not trying to pretend like I do, but I picked somebody who would be scary, and I imagine Ty Domi would be scary too. So if you're a hockey fan out there watching, there you go. So I'll let you do your. Can you think of a wild card? You can pick another guy or just
Let me hear your wild card, and then I'll think what mine is.
I went in the world of sports entertainment, well renowned as one of the toughest dudes ever in the locker room. I'm going with Haku. Andre might have been the easy answer because of his size. Andre was a puppy dog. He loved fans. He loved kids. I don't think Haku did. And Haku was one of those guys that in a bar situation, if there was a situation, he was the one walking out. The other one might have been Harley Race. But I would take Haku as a scary dude that I want nothing to do with.
I'm going to go along those lines then, because it's something I just saw recently. And it was after I was watching wrestling. But Mark Henry.
Yeah. You know what I just saw?
No one wanted to mess with him. Like, they played a practical joke on him where they left him in the ring, like after the cameras were off on a televised event. And they called him out, but they didn't have his opponent come out. And he went back and just started tearing up the backstage. And Vince McMahon ran and hid. And like other wrestlers were like, we're not intervening.
Wow. Well, World's Strongest Man. Yeah. And I saw this. So one of my Book of Face friends posted this video of Mark Henry military pressing Big Van Vader. I looked it up. Wow. Vader was 450. He was billed at 450, so let's put him at 420, 425. That's human weight.
Yeah, human weight is different than...
You've picked up a human before, and you've picked up an iron bar before. 200 is a lot different on a bar than it is with bones and muscle and fat. And
yeah, because the body has to give, and there's resistance.
Now, the slam wasn't textbook. Like, he picked them up and he kind of dropped them, but he was over his head. And part of, like, I will watch wrestling a little bit through, some of my knowledge of what goes on. I'm no expert, but I know, like, when the Warrior would press people, the person had to help him, and he was, like, holding on the Warrior's shoulders. You could see it a little bit.
Yeah.
When Hogan slammed Andre, when Jake Roberts slammed Andre, first of all, has to push with his arm on the thigh a little bit to help you get him up and over. I mean, most of it is
a momentum thing.
I couldn't slam Andre the Giant.
Me neither.
I have given a rock bottom to a person who was 100 pounds more than me. And it looked good. Like, he jumped. He was there. But I held him in the air for a second before we went down. So it's a ballet. It's a dance that you're doing. But I'm sorry. 450 over your head, even with a little help. Yeah, I'm not messing with that guy. No, that's a great pick. Off the top of your head, buddy.
I also love that we've both established that neither of us could body slam Andre the Giant. In case anyone was wondering,
it's important.
We've settled that age-old question.
Understand our limits.
The Bible says, "Know thyself."
They're part of Mr. Smarty Pants today is a list, and the list is, in fact, how many current professional wrestlers could you not body slam? So, I mean, do you want to start there? We'll start there. So, Tim, how many current WWF superstars could you not body slam?
Maybe I might be able to body slam some of the women.
Yeah. Okay. So Charlotte Flair's in trouble.
Charlotte Flair, I could probably body slam her.
Becky Lynch is in trouble, and there's, believe it or not, I haven't watched wrestling in a while, but the women's division, they had a women's Royal Rumble for a couple of years now. They have at least 30 really good superstars. So I think, maybe all 30 of them we could work with.
Especially if they're helping me Andre style. If they're like
if they're not helping you, I don't think I could slam any of them. But I'm old. That's my list, and it's a good thing because I didn't really have a list for today. Didn't know where I was going. I did see this, and I wondered if this was my trivia question from last week's script, and I just forgot to delete it or something, or if we do a show last week that we didn't, that I just forgot about. Whatever.
We drafted our baseball teams last week.
We did.
It was 2 weeks ago. We didn't have the show because of my belly.
This might be a repeat then. Yeah. And you know what? We'll see if you remember. I wrote this down. What is the most innings pitched in a single game by a single pitcher? Do you remember that?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Was it in the teens?
No, it's most certainly not in the teens.
Is it in the 20s?
Oh, yes.
24?
26.
Wow.
26, set by Leon Cador and Joe Oshker of the Brooklyn Dodgers and Boston Braves, respectively. The only pitchers in a 26-inning marathon game on May 1st, 1920. That game ended in a 1-1 tie thanks to darkness. So,
Charlie Murphy?
Sometimes you got to check him. He's a habitual line stepper. Bleeding from my chest.
I love the Charlie Murphy segments on Chappelle.
The guy I used to coach with when I was a football coach, we had a little thing during games. If something bad happened, we would start yelling, "Your couch, your couch."
Yeah.
But couch, things were bad. And if you know, you know. We'll leave it at that. So, all right. So I have a bracket here for you. I don't know if you're ready for this.
Let's bust it.
Let's go here because, we had the NCAA tournament finish up. So this is a Sweet 16. And you rank them, whatever you think. It doesn't matter, you just pick the winner. And I'll let you, if you can figure out what they have, and then you win. So in round one, game one, we have Steph Curry versus John Kuhn.
Steph Curry versus John Kuhn, you said?
Yes.
The former fullback?
Yes.
From Millersville?
Shippensburg.
I knew he was PSAC. I'm going with the PSAC. I want John Kuhn.
In game two, we have Tim Raines versus Rasheed Wallace.
Tim Raines. I love Rock Raines.
The Rock moves on. First, how many people are the Rock? You got Dwayne Johnson, Don Morocco, Tim Raines. It's a lot of Rocks out there. Your top 5 Rocks next week?
Charles S. Dutton. He was Rock on a Fox sitcom in the 90s.
I mean, we could have a top 5 Rocks over here. Chris Rock. Oh, look at you. All right, next game, Bernard King versus Dennis Martinez, El Presidente.
Again, another, but I go Bernard King.
Going Bernard King. Okay. We have Terrell Davis against Dave Meggett.
Oof. I really like Terrell Davis. I'm going with him.
TD. All right, next first round matchup, we have Maglio Ordonez against Orlando Cepeda.
Orlando Cepeda, the baby bull.
Okay. Then we have the previously mentioned Nolan Ryan versus Terry Porter.
Nolan Ryan.
We're going to go with Martin Brodeur against Willie Randolph.
Brodeur.
Say that decisively.
Yeah.
And we have our final first round matchup, Ken Griffey Jr. versus Icky Woods.
I'm going with Griffey, but Icky shone bright, but not for long. He
Kept it close,
was
huh?
a great footnote, but I go Griffey Jr.
Okay, round 2. We have John Kuhn against Tim Raines.
It was already tough taking Kuhn over Steph Curry. I really loved Tim Raines. I'm going to go Tim Raines.
You're going to take Tim, all right. So we have Bernard King against Terrell Davis.
That's another tough one, but when Bernard King was healthy, he was so much fun to watch. I'm going Bernard King.
Bernard King. We have Orlando Cepeda versus Nolan Ryan. We might have actually seen this.
Nolan Ryan. Cepeda was kind of a marginal pick. I go Nolan Ryan.
And then we have Martin Brodeur against Ken Griffey Jr.
I really loved watching those 90s Devils teams, the Neutral Zone Trap, Jacques Lemaire teams, but I'm going Griffey.
Griffey. Okay. So we have our final 4. Tim Raines, Bernard King.
Tim Raines.
Tim Raines makes the finals.
It's just pure chance that I wore the Expos hat today, too.
And we have Nolan Ryan. Yeah, you didn't know what we were doing. Nolan Ryan versus Ken Griffey Jr., another matchup we might have seen.
I'm Junior.
All right. And our final.
By the way, do you know Nolan Ryan's legal first name? It's not Nolan.
Ken?
What's that?
Is it Ken?
It's not Ken. You're close. It's Lynn.
Lynn. I did not know that. Now I do. Look at that.
Fun little fact for you.
Yeah, we learn things here on Soup and Meatballs every week.
Well, we're an educational program.
Our final here is The Rock versus the Kid. Tim Raines and Ken Griffey Jr., who is El Champion.
As much as I love Rock Reigns, I don't know if there was a more fun player in my lifetime than Griffey in his prime. I'm going Griffey.
Ken Griffey Jr. is your winner. Do you have any idea what the theme was of this bracket?
I am thoroughly flummoxed. I don't know that I do.
So I sent you, let's see, in our text thread where we prepped this out, I sent you the rundown of what we're going to talk about, and I tell you to click on the Show 30 tab, and you said, episode 30, we've lasted longer than Freaks and Geeks.
Number 30s.
All of these players wore number 30, and I had them ranked according to there was a website that ranks the best 30s of all time. John Kuhn was not the 16th. He was down in the 30s or 40s. But I'm like, he's a Shippensburg guy. We'll put him in as the 16 seed, and he knocks off the number 1. He knocks off Steph Curry. So we had a 16-1 upset here on Soup and Meatballs.
And that's why we go to the best of 5.
Ah, yes. Well,
Call back.
Who knows how the matchup would have gone in a best of 3 series.
And it's tough because Steph Curry is truly such a fun player to watch.
What?
I had to go PSAC.
I'm gonna. This is an interesting question for ChatGPT. Who wins in a hypothetical matchup between Steph Curry and John Kuhn? It is not basketball or football related. So, obviously Steph Curry would beat him in a basketball game. John Kuhn would block him out of the hole like crazy. This is great. At trivia night, slight edge to John Kuhn if it's bar trivia. He's got that random knowledge of beer slogans from 1986 vibe. In a video game showdown, let's say Mario Kart, edge Curry, especially in reflex-based games. In a cooking challenge, they're going Steph Curry again, unless the secret ingredient is bratwurst and cheese curds, because Kuhn is a fullback from Green Bay, the Wisconsin connection.
Yeah, he looks like a guy who smokes meats.
Ping pong, they're going Steph Curry. It just says no question. The Oktoberfest Beer Stein holding contest, edge John Kuhn in a landslide. If the contest is about precision, finesse, and pop culture, Steph Curry wins. If it's grit, strength, and Midwestern utility, John Kuhn takes it, obviously. Mini golf death match with trash talk allowed. Steph Curry 3-2 in a 5-event series. That's, there you go. I think that's.
Steph is a fantastic golfer too.
Well, there you go. So
I don't know how his short game is, with the mini golf, but he's a fantastic golfer.
Can he get around the windmill? That's the big question. And they're like, would you like any specific activity, Tim? So what activity do you want to see John Kuhn versus Steph Curry in?
Thumb wrestling.
This has to be Curry or Kuhn rather.
But it is also sort of like reaction time. It's not muscle based necessarily.
Best of 5 series. It's like ring announcer voice. 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare thumb war. Just tell me who wins. They're talking about strategy, match flow. Game 1, Steph comes out, jukes quick. He wins 1, so he's up 1-0. Kuhn ties it 1-1. Kuhn leads 2-1. Curry uses a fake injury timeout, comes back with a reverse pin. Curry 2-2 now.
That's a flare move.
And then final round, Kuhn goes for a power move, but Steph slips out, does a behind the thumb counter pin, and Steph Curry wins 3-2. Kuhn demands a rematch, but only if it's arm wrestling.
See, I thought Steph might win that one because people think he's like 6'4", and he's got some size to him now. He's got some muscle, but he's also got like the fast twitch, motion response.
Somewhere like in Tennessee, there's a kid trying to write his paper on some kind of English paper, and like ChatGPT is slowing down because I'm asking it about a thumb war between Steph Curry and John Kuhn.
And this kid's like, just tell me who won the Civil War.
And in the meantime, ChatGPT is like trying to push me. He's like, do you want to go full absurd and do rock, paper, scissors? No, because you're going to write 7 pages about it. Just tell me who wins.
What do you mean Jefferson Davis won a thumb wrestling matchup with Abraham Lincoln? This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Unbelievable. Good use of
technology, sir.
Technology out there. It's better than I don't have the picture that we could broadcast for the YouTube or the Twitch people. But if you go to our Facebook page, the action figure set, it was supposed to be a double pack. But if you look at the picture, there's only one figure in it. There's 2 of our faces, but there's just one figure. I don't know. Let me see who that figure was. I think the consumer ends up getting cheated in the end. I think it's you. That's absolutely you.
Oh, yeah.
But see, you get pictures of both of us. How much would you pay for a 2-pack soup and meatballs with accessories?
Well, it's funny. I was thinking about, I bet we could like 3D print those figures.
So I have a buddy who does 3D printing, and he did I have a board game called Mountain Goats, and in the game it comes with these little, hold on, I know this is a bear, but like these little goats that you're supposed to play with, and they don't have a blue one. And when I play games, I usually play as the blue character. So I asked him, I'm like, could you print me some blue goats? So he prints some blue goats, but he also went out and he printed these white goats with blue stripes that have a Yankee logo on them. They're the coolest thing I have now. I don't know if he could print an action figure without there's like a .svg file that you need. Could you make one of these? Maybe. I don't know what it would entail. I showed you. I have a personal Funko Pop that Roseanne got me.
Yeah.
Like here's like a Lego. Here, I have all these toys at my desk. This was a Lego minifig that Derek made of me.
Oh. When did he make that?
Oh gosh, like 10 years ago, maybe. No. So Maria's 7, and he made a family when she was so it was like 6 years ago.
Huh. That's cute.
Maybe 5 or 6, yeah. Because we have a little Maria though. He has so many Lego minifigs that is just easy to make. Good stuff. So what do you got going on this weekend? We're 40 seconds away from 2 hours, so we got to jibber jabber for 40 seconds. What are you doing this weekend? I'm going to Minecraft.
I don't really have anything. I'll probably watch some baseball.
You gonna rent Wicked?
Maybe. What's that?
Wicked on Peacock?
Yeah, it is on Peacock, and it's been there for like 2 weeks, and I still haven't watched it.
But see, if you watch it, I can't tell you my major problem until you've seen the whole story.
Okay.
That's part of my problem is like dealing with the whole story. We'll go to New York. You could watch the Broadway show first and tell you my problems.
Because I'm supposed to, I want to catch up on Anora. I want to see Wicked. There are a couple like the Oscar movies that I really want to catch up on. So maybe watch one of those later.
The Residence on Netflix?
No.
Okay.
I don't know if I know that.
No, I won't say that. Jen and I've been watching that at night. It's a 12-episode series. It doesn't feel like there's season 2. There was a murder in the White House, and they call in. So it's a state dinner. There's a murder at the White House. They call in this crazy detective, and it's a whole thing. Then it really we're at the last episode, and it's entertaining. I will say that. I mean, Jen and I try to watch stuff like a show at night that you're unwinding. You don't really have to think too hard. And we watched. We got into Shameless. We watched that whole series. That was really good. Oh, yeah. Have you seen Shameless? Yeah, the lip character is like maybe the most disappointing. The lip character might be the most disappointing character ever. Like so much potential that he just we like that show. I forget what we watched before The Residence, and it was just like 2 weeks ago.
See, I'm supposed to be watching
the mind fog is something.
I've had so many people tell me like that they want to talk to me about Severance, but I haven't started it yet. Have you seen that at all? That Adam Scott?
I've seen it like on the boxes you can pick from. I don't know if that was one Jen wanted to watch on. Maybe I think, and we're watching and it was like 10 minutes in and she's like, "This isn't doing it for me." Like I tried to get her to watch Lost.
Yeah.
And I went and I rewatched Lost. I've seen it now 4 times through. That is when we did that whole, how well do you know Max quiz, I think that made my top 5 all-time favorite shows. Yeah, that might be number 2 now. That was just so good for me. I had the benefit of binge watching it the first time. I didn't have to deal with the summers and the conspiracy theories and all that. The experience of it, I just got to watch the story.
I remember I was really intrigued by the pilot, like the first episode. And then I didn't really watch much of the first season just because I was working at a newspaper.
Yeah, that was about 2004, did it start?
Yeah, it premiered 21 years ago.
Yeah, that was like our life was, we're starting to, we got to start making money.
That was the Vlad Guerrero contract ago.
Oh my gosh.
But then I remember like reading about the first season. I was like, okay, this is too intriguing. So back when you could still like go to a Blockbuster and rent seasons on DVD, and I just binged 24 episodes of the first season. I was like, I am all in on this. So I was all caught up like when the season 2 premiere, and I was like, all right, let's find out what's in this hatch. Great stuff.
But again, like 10 minutes in, Jen's like, it's not doing it for me. I'm like, are you serious?
With that show, it has such a natural hook. Someone wakes up in a jungle and their plane crashed and is on fire. Dudes are getting sucked into the engine. Jen.
I remember when the light went on in the hatch. Was that the end of season 1?
That was right near the end, where Locke is like at his like lowest, when he's like, he builds like the trebuchet to try to break into it, and he can't get in. And he's like shouting like what, like to the island, like, why are you doing this to me? And then the light, like this beam
Desmond
of light
turns the light on. Yeah.
Yeah.
If that wasn't the season finale, I mean, like you said, it was. But I don't know if I would have been like doing a summer of like, oh my gosh. Like I said, I had the benefit of just watching it. And I saw the story. There's a show called Scandal. Have you ever seen Scandal?
Oh, I love Scandal.
Now that we're talking, TV, So Jen and I watched that show Thursday nights, and I remember thinking that was it Fitzgerald Grant. He was the weakest fictional president I've ever seen. He was just mind-blowingly poor as an administrator, but he was adorable, and he was in love with
Kerry Washington, Olivia Pope.
Yeah, what was her character's name?
Olivia Pope.
Olivia Pope. Yeah, Olivia Pope. So it was a good story, and this was back when like I was into The West Wing and House of Cards. It was just another one of those political shows. I'm like, yeah, I'll get into this. They ran into this problem where, you know, the end of the fall season would hit. They would take Thanksgiving and December and January off, and then like the beginning of March would kick up, and I'd be like, where are we in the story? I don't remember. But then the whole series ends, and then I'm doing some kind of, I was doing work. I'm like, I'm gonna on my iPad over here. It was on Netflix or something. I'm like, I'm gonna start watching this again, and watching it through without the breaks, so much better. Like I could remember the story. I'm like, oh yeah, oh okay. It was so much better in that environment, which, you know, that actually caused me one of my, if it's not my favorite show, The Blacklist. I would have it on DVR and I would purposefully not watch any of it. I would wait until like the first 2 days of summer break. I'm like, I have nothing to do. I'm going to watch The Blacklist now. All 20 episodes all at once. I
do that now with Abbott Elementary, where I'll let it go for 5 weeks and then I'll just binge like 5 episodes just to get this like 2.5 hours of joy.
I was watching the whole season, but I mean, I just had the time. So much. I'm watching commercials for like Thursday Night Football in June. I'm like, oh, okay.
$10 on the Raiders.
It's a lot easier to watch shows at my, you know, goofy, you know, cloud fog that I can just keep the story going. And I was bummed that Jen didn't want to get into that. Like I would watch it again now. I've seen. Have you seen the YouTube short about a spoiler alert coming for Lost? By the way, you know how Hurley's handling things like at the warehouse. That's so cool.
I love that.
So cool.
And I love that Ben's like his right hand guy.
Yeah, and Ben is the definition of a pro wrestler in that movie. He's a bad guy, then he's a good guy, then he's a sympathetic figure, then he's the why don't we shoot him in the face, and now he's running things like he's got a wild character arc. And
yet, I mean, Locke is easily my favorite character on that show.
Yeah, I think we talked about this. Did we draft Lost characters?
If not, we need to.
Yeah, I mean that's something. We might have been texting Roseanne about this because I think she's seen it too. About who does anybody like Jack out there? If you're a Jack person, what's wrong with you?
I like what they did with Jack.
Yeah, they
like from like a writerly perspective, how they were like, this is the guy you should be rooting for, and now we're going to spend 3 seasons proving to you why you shouldn't have been rooting for him in the first place.
Yeah, I like that. I might start that again now. I
was just thinking that. I was like, oh, that's on Netflix.
There's 12 seasons of The Blacklist. I'm watching through. It's like when Maria goes to her dance class, I sit there for 2 hours and I just watch The Blacklist on my phone. I'm in season 11 of it right now. And season 11, I think, is like my least favorite. But it's Megan Boone, who was one of the main characters, decided she didn't want to be on the show anymore. And that they had to deal with that, which is, you know, I can't believe actors and actresses have actual desires and wants beyond entertaining me.
Right. Yeah. And just me, like practical minded me, like I think like when you have a stable job like that and you walk away, like acting is so feast and famine.
Let's see what Megan Boone is up to now. She was born in Michigan. I wonder if she's she go blue or go green. Did you know she was the first actor to be cast on The Blacklist? I'm looking for like actress. So since The Blacklist, she has appeared on 1 episode of Accused. That's it. But maybe she's made enough money. She doesn't want to be in acting anymore. She's about our age. She was born in 1983.
Well, more power to her. Good for her.
It doesn't say in her personal life here on Wikipedia. She is a mom. She gave birth in April of 2016. Allegedly, she's still married. I mean, they don't have it as divorce, so good for her, man. I mean,
you make it sound like she shoplifted. You're like, according to reports, she's still married.
I don't want people to think I'm making this stuff up. I mean, I'm reading it's Wikipedia, so if I want to, can I go in and edit this? I mean, Megan Boone was born in 1984 now.
In Indiana.
Yeah. I'm not gonna do that. She's still active, listed as a present day actress. But I mean, she decided to leave the show, and it. I don't know if it changed the way they were. Have you seen The Blacklist at all?
All I know is what I've seen in half listened to commercials where James Spader wears a lot of black trench coats.
I've told you this. You give it a shot. If when you get to season 11, though, you'd be like, okay, I know what he's talking about. It's an entertaining show. It's one of those hour-long. There's a mystery to solve, but there's a story that goes along with it.
Right.
Along the way. One of my favorites, if not my favorite.
And then I'm over here. You're killing time watching Blacklist, and I fall asleep watching Chopped because I like cooking competition shows.
My father-in-law used to be really big into the Iron Chef.
Oh yeah.
When Jen and I were engaged, I'm living in Hazleton, driving to Chambersburg to see her and all this stuff, and I would show up, and there's my father-in-law sitting on the chair watching, not Bobby Flay, or whoever the Iron Chefs were, Miramoto, I think, name rings a bell, and he just sat there watching cooking, or he said he was big into the Weather Channel. I didn't want to watch the Weather Channel, but I'd watch the cooking show with him. That was a good time.
Yeah,
you're watching Chopped.
Fun. Yeah.
Where's Chopped? Which show is that? Is that like food TV show or Food Network?
I watch it on my HBO Max.
Okay. Let's see here. Oh my goodness. That's insane. I don't believe this. How many seasons, according to Wikipedia now, how many seasons of Chopped have there been?
Oh, there are 47 seasons or something like that.
No.
Well, because there's Chopped Junior. How many does it say there are?
61.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And that's part of the appeal is that I can just put it on as background noise to fall asleep. I can wake up to it. And there's no story to follow, but I can just dive right back in and be like, oh, they've got to make a dessert using venison? Interesting.
It was a good show that Jen and Marie really liked. I think Derek liked it too. Is It Cake?
My nephew got me into that. Where I would be paranoid, walking around, I'd be like,
I have a candle here. Is it cake?
Ow! It started to lead it's not existential dread where I'd be like, am I cake? What is life?
I'm convinced we all died in 2020 and we're all cake. So
yeah, we're just living in a cake-based simulation.
I just bit that candle and it really hurt. It is in fact not cake. Speaking of cake, before we go, you know where I was last night? I don't know if I told you.
I saw on Facebook where you were.
I wasn't going to tell the world, but there, look at that.
I saw, that's adorable.
Daddy-daughter dance, and they had cake there. And
are you sure? It could have been a candle.
I ate it. It wasn't bad. Really good frosting on it. The guy I was sitting with, actually, he knew my brother-in-law. So we're talking about, I said it's a good cake. I said, I'm not a cake guy. He's like, yeah, me neither. I'm an ice cream connoisseur. I was like, really? Let's talk. We talked ice cream for 20 minutes. It was a good time. Did not like mint. Wasn't a mint chocolate chip guy. He was more of a chocolate marshmallow guy, I think.
Oh.
And I like rainbow sherbet. I'm a fruit guy. Or sorbet, or sorbet if you're me. But the cake wasn't bad. We'll give whoever the caterer was at the Chambersburg Rec Center daddy-daughter dance.
I do have a quart of Thin Mint cookie ice cream in my freezer at the moment. Untouched. I haven't dug in yet.
I saw a TikTok recipe where they took Oreo Thin Mints and they like mushed that and they made ice cream out of that. I thought of you like, I wonder if you would like that. And there you have it in your freezer right now.
Mm.
We have like generic cookies and cream right now.
See, that's one where I always go to the local. I get the good stuff.
You said you have a creamery nearby, right?
Yeah, it's called Brennan's Big Chill. The people who own it, super nice, fellow New Jerseyans, and they change their flavors like every 2 or 3 days. They always have vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry, and then they're always bringing in like all these random weird flavors.
So I like chewing gum, and I will chew this one brand of chewing gum, that lasts a long time, almost an extra long time. They had a rainbow sherbet flavor for about like 3 months, and then it's gone. That was my favorite gum ever, and it's gone, and it's never coming back. And I'm not bitter about it at all.
So this gum was better than Big League Chew, which for me, grape Big League Chew was the best bubble gum ever. Closely followed by grape Hubba Bubba.
So I don't know if I don't remember the grape Big League Chew. I remember the bubble gum, the original flavor. And I also remember there was a cherry cola. And I feel bad because a buddy of mine gave me what we would call it, like a fatty of cherry cola. And I'm sorry. Now, you see, if you had given me a skinny and he had given me a skinny, I would have had a fatty.
Yeah.
But the first minute of it was I didn't like it. And I'm like, I don't know. And I keep chewing this to be polite. And we were outside. I'm like, I'm just going to cough and, oh, I lost it. I'm going to go chew something different. But now I think I would appreciate it more. I think it would taste good to me now. I don't know. I feel bad that I didn't give cherry cola, Big League Chew a chance when I was 9 years old.
Of all the words of tongue and pen, the saddest are what might have been.
Imagine the regret that 46-year-old Max has that, 38 years ago or whatever, I spit out cherry Coke Big League Chew.
Like, you still wake up in a cold sweat. Cherry Big League Chew. Jen, I had that dream again.
It was the pear dream. Jules was there.
I think I'm going mad.
You're lost. Yeah. I you know what? It hasn't. It's not to that extent, but I guarantee you, within the last 10 years, I've thought about that cherry Coke Big League Chew. It's happened, and that's the weirdest thing. Like, that's it. You ever see the movie Inside Out? Like, they have these core memory balls. Why is that a core memory ball for me that I spit out gum when I was 9 years old?
Isn't it funny, like those random core memories? Also,
I can't tell you who signed the Treaty of Versailles, but I can tell you I spit out a piece of gum when I was 9 years old.
Also, I think that all the food talk has made me hungry. I might have to go get my bagel.
John Kuhn is definitely beating me in trivia. I had a bagel for morning breakfast when I went to get the kids their donuts. So, daddy-daughter dance, I didn't go get my meatballs, so hopefully we'll do that tonight.
Mario's?
Yeah. So 18 minutes past the 2-hour mark. We've hit our average, so that's good.
We talked about football. We won't be fined. Yeah,
we actually drafted football, so we should get our commission bonus here pretty soon. There it is. Another 30 episodes in. The next milestone in 20 shows, I guess. And we should have a party, or
we can invite David Robinson on. He wore number 50.
Our 7th favorite Dave of all time. we at our 50, we can draft Dave's and we can invite him. And I saw this before we go, and now that I'm thinking about 50s, I saw the all-time NFL defense, and they put Mike Singletary at linebacker, and that felt kind of weird. Like,
I wonder if it's the same one I saw, because they were running a 4-3, but they had two inside linebackers. They had Lewis and Singletary with LT.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so you take two inside linebackers and one of them's not Butkus?
I don't know. I mean, Singletary was good. It just didn't feel like the second best inside linebacker of all time.
Right. He look, Hall of Fame, a champion, maybe a top 5 inside linebacker, maybe, but he's not better than Dick Butkus.
No, probably not.
And Ray Lewis isn't better than Dick Butkus either.
That list was very recency bias, but
Absolutely.
okay. We invite him as a 50. Boomer Bugda wore number 50. Yeah, we have all kinds of 50s coming up, but I'll have a bracket set up and the best 50s of all time.
We could draft our favorite numbers between 1 and 5.
I like me some 2.
I like even numbers, but I also like numbers divisible by 5. So 5 might actually be number 1 for me.
There you go. 5 is 1. There you go. We'll tease that as a future episode. So down the line, folks, it's been real. Have a good week. Tim, enjoy your bagel. I'm gonna try to enjoy Minecraft, and it's been 2 hours and 20 minutes. We probably both have